Okay, so our Catalina has now reached a point where she's painted, and I'm now going to put on the decals. All the airbrushing has been done via our pimped up Neo, which has behaved pretty well. I must admit, I was quite impressed. The thing that I wasn't impressed with, though, is that I had a bit of a problem getting this yellow colour in Vallejo. Apparently they don't do this colour, so I had to use the Humbrol acrylic 154. Now the reason I use acrylic paints is because my wife doesn't like the smell of enamel. I love spraying enamel, you can't go wrong with enamel, but unfortunately my wife doesn't like the smell. So I thought, seeing they had some of this in my local hobby shop, I'd give it a go. What I would say is I had to use Humbrol's own acrylic thinner, and even though I trawled the internet, trawled Humbrol's and Airfix's site, I couldn't get the right proportions to put the thinner to the paint. I tried several. I tried 60-40, which is my normal mix for acrylic. I also tried 70-30 and 80-20, and to be fair, none of them really worked. The Humbrol thinner, so Humbrol reckon, has a retarder, so I didn't use the Liquitex Flow Aid. Though I actually found that it actually is better if you do it just with deionized water and Liquitex Flow Aid. It actually works a bit better. Using Humbrol's own thinner, it had a tendency to dry very quickly, got lots of splatter, wasn't that impressed. So will I be buying more of it? Yes. Will I be using any more of the Humbrol acrylic thinner? No. I think I'll just keep this to clean the airbrush out with and stuff like that. But as I said, Humbrol acrylics, are they good? Yeah, they're pretty cheap, £1.64 for a little bottle like this. Coverage is pretty bad, but it does give a nice thin coat. It just takes a long while. And the other thing that I really didn't like about them, even though I will be using more, is their drying time was really, really, really long. And you can't actually force it with a hairdryer like you can with most acrylics. So, bit of a shame with that. As I said, it's done a reasonable job from what you can see. But as I said, I'll only be using it when I absolutely have to. And I think if I were to do another one of these and I couldn't find Vallejo acrylic, I think I'd actually probably use Humbrol enamel, and the wife will just have to live with the smell while it dries. So, Catalina is all painted. As you can see, I've got a little bit of touch up to do, especially around the de-icer boots here, but basically the whole thing has all these pieces here are going to require decals. We're doing ours as the Goose Bray Catalina, and yeah, I don't think that you can really see, but I've used the dark and the light colours as I have on the as I did on the U-boat. And it's probably too subtle for the camera to pick it up, but I've given this highlights and dark lights just to give it a little bit of 3-dimension. It's a lot better when it's matte. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all these decals to all of these pieces, and then going to matte everything off, and we are then going to get on and do some weathering. Now the weathering on this model, as you can see, it looks pretty toy-like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to matte it all down. I'm going to add some dirt, just a small amount here and there. Then I'm going to add a little bit of the old Johnson's clear. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just give it a minor sheen, not quite as sheeny as it is here. And then once I've done that, I'm going to use matte varnish. And I'm going to create some streaks and some lining, which means when it shows to the light from a distance, it will look more like the real thing. And we'll show you exactly how that's done on the next video.